So in today's video, we're going to pick up where we left off in class today. What we covered in class quickly, and I won't go over this in detail, is defining the four ways to describe an angle: acute, right, obtuse, and straight. We have that already figured out in our notes. As a result, we're able to visually inspect an angle and determine how best to describe it in one of those four words: acute, right, obtuse, or straight. And then we also talked about how we generally go about naming an angle. And naming an angle is typically done using 3 points on that angle, keeping in mind that the middle of the points is always the vertex, and also that this symbol here is the way of us saying angle. Okay, so this right angle, for example, would be using the angle symbol, angle ABD, or using the angle symbol. Remember, we can even name this angle backwards, angle DBA. Now that's helpful for us to know because in this video, we're going to be looking at named angles, and we're going to use a protractor to help us figure out what the measure of the angle is. Now, all of these are going to be pretty straightforward for us to use the protractor for because all of the angles are going to start at 0 either on the left-hand side, which means I would be counting using this inner scale from left to right or going clockwise, starting at 0 and counting the degrees from there. Or the angle is going to start on the right-hand side of the protractor, starting at 0, so that I can use this outer scale, counting from 0 to 180 counterclockwise, going from right to left. So as long as I can figure out where 0 is on my scale to represent that's the starting side, we'll call it, of our angle, then we can just count from there. Now, the only other thing that's important for us to know is how to correctly read these tick marks, okay? So you notice there's these small individual black tick marks. Each of those is 1 degree. There's these blue tick marks that on this scale are representing intervals of 5 degrees. So every time we count a blue tick mark, we're counting by 5. So there's 5 degrees. Actually, the green, the last one, is counting as an interval of 10 degrees. Okay, so I just want you to understand that. The smallest tick marks are in intervals of 1. The blue tick marks are in intervals of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, that's 5. Going up to the next is 10. 5 more than that is 15. Another 5, well, that's 2 10s together, that's 20 degrees, and so on. Okay, so let's get started. The first angle we're asked to measure is angle CAB. Now, that's this angle right here, angle CAB. Remember, this angle can be read in either of two ways. So the other alternative is for me to think of it, instead of angle CAB, just state that in reverse, angle BAC. And it might be helpful for me to view it that way because when I look at BA as one of the rays forming the angle, I notice that's where it cuts through 0, right there. Okay, and as a result, I'm going to want to read my angle in that direction, starting at 0. So I'm going to use that inner black scale and moving clockwise from there to get to the other side of our angle of that ray AC. So when I start at B and I start moving my way to C, I start at 0 and I end at, well, there's 5, that's 10, and there's 2 more tick marks. I end at 12 degrees. So all I'm looking at is my angle being the difference of 12 and 0, which is simply 12 degrees. And I could have done that by counting each of these individual tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But that gets a little cumbersome, and you might get lost counting the individual tick marks or hash marks. So we like to know how to use the scale to our advantage. So let's do one more and then I'll leave you on your own to do the rest. Okay, we're going to move over to the other end and we're going to do angle EAF. That's this angle right here, angle EAF. And don't forget, I have the option of reading it backwards. So I could think of it as or angle FAE. Okay, and it doesn't really matter which way I go. So if I go angle EAF, I know I'm there and I know I'm here. Now it's important to know that one of my sides is at zero. Where is that zero? Where is it at zero? It's at zero on my red scale. Okay. So I'm going to use my angle measures there. So I know I'm at zero right there. And here, well, let's see, I'm going to count. Again, we're using the red scale because that's where our angle sits on zero. I'm going to count 10, 20, 30, 40, and one more. I'm at 41 degrees. So that's really just the difference between the 41 degrees and the zero, or nothing more than 41 degrees. Okay, so that's how we're going to make use of this protractor. We're going to determine which side we can count starting at zero. And then we're just simply going to use the appropriate scale. So if in this case, my angle is on the left side of the protractor, I'm going to use the inner scale because zero will start on the left side. And if it's on the right side of the protractor, I'm going to use the outer red scale because that's where my angle will be passing through zero. Okay, so what I'll ask you to do is finish up the remaining 4 angle measures, both in the top, and then also do the same with the other 6 angle measures down below. And we'll check back in as a class tomorrow and continue our discussion further with angle measures. We'll see you then.